Well, I am very excited to be here today. As Jess mentioned, I'm the Agile coach at New Dawn. I thought I'd make a little slide to explain what that is because I've gotten a few questions and raised eyebrows. So I focus on process, teamwork, and collaboration. I encourage teams to become self-improving. And as teams are trying to self-improve and modify the processes that they're following, I bring data and information to teams regarding industry best practices. I've been at New Dawn for about 6 years. For the last 6 months, I've been on loan to sustain our sister company in California. I've had a great time there. Thank you all very much for coming here, by the way. I saw this post on Facebook a few days ago. This is someone who was in a plane on their way here, and I was excited to see that. We look forward to this conference, and this was a big deal. So we're excited to have you here. I take this responsibility pretty seriously that I'm here spending this time with you. I know you could be doing a lot of other things, so I hope we can have a good time here. I want to start with this picture. It's from a New York Times article. I just want you to soak it in for just a minute. This is the entrance to the courtroom in the Bronx. There's so much about this picture that's just, it is, one, wrong, and two, reality. You can see that apparently people are going through some sort of security screening thing to get in there. There's plenty of equipment to get that done, but due to personnel restrictions or budgets or whatever, there's only a few security guards there. And there's 100 people or so lined up to get in, and the line goes out the door. And this, a few more stats about the court there. As of March 25th of this year, that court had 5,415 pending cases. 73% of the felony cases were older than 180 days. And I'm pretty sure that's not calendar days. Those are court days, which are very different, unfortunately. And 143 of their cases were more than 3 years old. This is just the way things are. And I'm going to mention a few agencies here as we go through this. I'm not picking on anyone. This is just reality. I got this out of the news. When I think about the job that I have to do at New Dawn, we want to build communities. We want to serve the justice community. Stories like this are hard to read. This is hard to hear about, that someone might wait 3 years to hear the result of their case. Last year, I gave a presentation at this conference where I explained what the processes were that we follow at New Dawn. I thought it would be just kind of a way to explain how we do things. Turned out we got a lot of feedback. A lot of people were pretty interested in learning about how we do things so that they might take them back to their office and apply them there to their workflow. So that's been the impetus for what I've been working on and learning about for the last year, and I really want to share this. So what we're going to do here, I'm going to explain a few different methods of manufacturing. The reason why I'm sharing methods of manufacturing is because agile software development, which is the method that we follow here, it borrows heavily from one method of manufacturing. So I'd like to share a little bit about that. We're going to go through an exercise just to sort of get it fresh in our minds so we all know what that's about. We're going to talk specifically about lean manufacturing. And then we're going to practice a little bit analyzing a process and applying changes to it. And as you may already know, and I just want to be clear, there's no silver bullet here. There's nothing that we're going to share that will change the way you do everything. My hope is that this is the start of a conversation that we can have about applying lean principles to justice case flow. This is a practice that's swept a lot of other industries, and it appears like that the time might be right to start to talk about this process here. So for just a second, I'd like you all to put down all of your thoughts about cases and names, PIPs and business rules and everything, all of that stuff, because we need to mentally detach for just a second and pretend for a minute that I have a great business idea, okay? And those who know me probably have heard a few of these ideas and know where they've gone. But suppose for just a second that I've found a market of some people that are willing to pay top dollar for a product. The product is this drawing. Somehow people are clamoring for it. I've done some research and some focus groups, and I think that I can sell that product for $2 per drawing. I think that's pretty good, considering I should be able to get the raw materials to produce that for much less than that, and I think I could do the work to produce that fairly cheaply. So this is what I'd like to produce, house drawing production. We're going to make a little business here and try to make a few of these. These are the criteria, though. The customer is very picky. They demand perfection. I actually have one here. So each drawing has to look just like this. I mean, this is what I've done the work on. This is what they want. I found a great deal from a supplier who'll give me the paper for $1 each. I'm very excited about that. It's a smoking deal. And I can sell the finished product for $2 each. In order to get my operation up and going, I need a template that I can copy from, and that's going to cost me $4. So I can trace it or copy it or whatever. So here's the tough part. I actually want some volunteers to come up here and help me do this. We're gonna set up an operation right here on this table. I've laid out the workflow. A manager's going to get paper from a supplier, right? They're going to walk it over to the production area. They're going to start with those who are with that worker that's drawing the picture of the house. They're going to send it to the worker that's drawing the picture of the tree. Once they finish that, and we only move material around our factory in batches. We don't just send this around one paper at a time. We've got to make sure we keep efficient, so we're going to send a big stack. When they're done drawing the tree, they're going to send it to the worker that draws the sun. Okay. After that, the manager will collect all of that and deliver it to the customer, who, of course, we hope will give us a few dollars, right? So I'd like a team of 7 people to step up, please, and I'll give you a short amount of time before I start to pull you out of the crowd. So if you're interested, you're just going to have to sit up here. You don't have to talk very much. There's so many hands going up at the same time. It's difficult to choose who I'd like. Step right up. We've got our first one, and I need 7. So please come on up. There's room for everybody. Come right up here. If you wouldn't mind, just step right up here. And do you know anyone out there that you can call up here? Ruthie? Perfect. Come on up. We've got 3. We need 4 more, please.
Where's Johnny?
And I'll wait it out. 1, 2. Johnny's here.
Johnny's somewhere.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We need 2 more, please. 6. 1 more. There we go. There's 7. Perfect. All right. Let's give them a round of applause. They're being brave here. So what I need you all to do is come up with who's going to do what in this. The roles are right behind you. I need 3 people to draw: a manager, a customer, and 2 accountants. If you're going to draw, come right over here, please. So I've set up our station right here. The house will be right here. If you want to, you can sit right on the stage, and you'll work right here. The house, the tree, and the sun. All right, perfect. And who are our accountants?
Yeah, right.
I don't know anything about it.
Okay, perfect. That's just what I'm looking for, actually. Okay, so what you're going to do is help us keep track of what's happening here, okay? And I asked 2 of you to come up here because I have a feeling they're going to work very quickly. So, you're going to have to keep track of what's going on. I have a pen. Here's the deal. Here's a stopwatch, too. Excuse me. I'm just going to grab the stopwatch. So as they start a phase, as they start a phase of production, I'd like you to count how long it takes them to get through that, okay? So, for instance, she's going to start working on drawing that house. We need to count how long it takes for her to draw that, how many she produced, and if anything went wrong and she's just going to have to throw it away, let's write that down too, okay? So there's that. Here's a stopwatch. Here's a pen. And you're our customer or?
I'm a customer.
Customer. Okay. Customer. When they get done with all of this, I want you to make sure
It looks like that.
it looks like that. And you can be very strict
Okay.
because you demand excellence, okay? And you're our manager? Okay. So you're going to start by, I have these stacks of paper here. There's 5 papers in each stack because that's our batch size. We're going to move in batches of 5.
Okay.
So you'll just take this, walk it over to the front. When they're done, you walk it over to the customer. It's that easy, okay?
Manage that.
And if they need more, I've got more stacks here.
Okay.
So our goal is we want to make 5 copies. That's all we need to do, okay? And just to be clear, here are the instructions. Make sure it miss anything. I'm just going to be exact. Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're ready to start, manager, you'll just deliver those to the front of the line, and we'll be starting to count. Got it?
Okay.
And we'll let you. Oh, hold on just a second. How are they going to know what to draw?
You got to get a copy of it.
We got so that there's a place in there to write down expenses. They're going to buy their first thing here. So it's $4.
$4.
Okay, there you go.
And I just give them one and then just,
Yeah, yeah. All right, you ready to count?
ready?
So while they're working on this, I'm going to point out a few things. Number one, we're keeping track what's happening. This is pretty significant. In a lot of workflows, in a lot of agencies, we don't, hold on, what's happening? We just passed a paper. We only pass in batches of 5, right?
So you have to,
You got to wait till all 5 of those are, yep. Perfect, okay. So, thank you. So we're keeping track of the statistics of the operation. And this is a significant change from a lot of knowledge work, where if you're working on something that just involves your mind, or you're just working on sending emails, or you have to work through some papers, it's easy to forget that it's important to track how long that stuff is taking or how long it's in process. So it's significant that we're recording all of this.
We're wasting the manager's money.
You are? Okay. She says, what's that? She said, we're wasting the manager's money.
it should be in.
Okay, so once this transfers, then that's the first phase. So it took them that long. Wait, how did we transfer papers already?
Because you did 5.
Oh, all right. And you gave her the
No,
second
that's
stack?
right.
I gotcha. Okay.
Good man. Oh, good man.
Fair. Okay, the manager. Take those over to the customer.
Customer.
And if you wouldn't mind, let's pause for just a second because I want to see what happens here. Okay, customer. We got a rejection, 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 rejection. Okay, so we got 5 rejections.
I demand to know what the issue is.
That's good.
She improved on what you did.
Okay, if we could pause the production for just a second. How long did that take us from start to finish?
See, it's about 2 minutes, a little over
2 minutes, okay. How much did we spend here? You forgot to count the cost of the paper there. We at least went through 5 papers.
Okay, so that's $5, so $9.
Did the customer buy anything?
No.
Okay, so I want to ask you all, what just happened here? What do you think?
Wasted a bunch of time and money. And the manager wasn't very explicit on what she wanted specifically.
Oh, she just blamed the manager. She just blamed the manager. She said it was the manager's fault. So, and I want to point out, this is actually really serious. How many of y'all have been in a situation where like the tree didn't get drawn right, and instead of looking at the specific process, the tree person got fired? You know what I mean? No offense, the tree actually looked really good. But by the way, it wasn't, Or the workers look at the manager and say, hey, those requirements were terrible. And so we get this internal strife going back and forth. The process might be the issue or something like that. What else did you see there? What else? what else was hard?
It should have gone, instead of wait for 5, it should, as one's done, it goes faster.
You should have just had maybe the batch size be 1.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Did anyone else out here have any thoughts? What they saw?
You just had a picky customer.
Picky customer. All right. That's another one. Blame the customer. All right.
No communication.
They didn't talk back and forth. Maybe that would have helped.
Working.
That's perfect. I love it. Okay. I'd like to thank you all for coming up here. If you don't mind, I'm going to have you come back in a little while. Let's give them all a round of applause. Thank you very much. Thank you. So what we just walked through was just a quick explanation and an activity of how to build stuff. And the reason I did that is just to, get it in our minds, because like I said, we're all busy doing knowledge work or service work where we're not necessarily building things. However, some of these principles are so based on manufacturing, it's easier to understand. So we just looked a little bit like mass production, large scale, expensive ramp-up time. There are some volume benefits. I think of like a car when I think of that, particularly a Ford car, because Henry Ford is somewhat credited for discovering and taking advantage of mass production. Because at the time that he came into business, he was dealing with people working in craft production, which looks a little bit more small scale. There's little or no ramp up time. They can do custom orders. It's considered higher quality. It also has some issues in that you can't get the same thing twice because everything's done in a custom way. It's hard to fix things. You have to buy the parts from the person who built it. But we still use it. This is an Aston Martin 177, which I know is a custom-built car. It's also very spendy. You can imagine what doing that same exercise would look like if we followed the craft production methods. We might not use a template, right? We just kind of freehand it, which, interestingly enough, is kind of what the workers were working on here, was kind of just doing the freehand. It would be much higher cost because we'd have to make up for the defects. Much slower output, possibly. But it would be easier to draw different pictures. People might enjoy buying that getting the different flair from the artist's perspective. So anyway, mass production took off. By the 60s or 70s, America was having a heyday in that particular field. You could have anything you wanted as long as you wanted lots of them. And we did really well at that. Well, along came a company and a particular part of the automotive industry that took advantage of both worlds, and that would be Toyota. They're particularly credited as identifying and perfecting a system that later became known as lean production. And some of the principles there are high quality, low costs. You can easily do custom orders. You can do small scale and large scale, and there's a pretty short ramp up time. And it's not like mass producers didn't want all of those items. They just didn't figure out how until lean production showed up. So I want to share a little bit more about what lean manufacturing is. Any activity that does not add value to the customer is waste. This is probably the number one thing. You want to reduce waste. And it's pretty tricky because some things that look like they're valuable or helpful are actually waste, as defined by this particular methodology. Problems are fixed at their source instead of just correcting the symptom. We'll talk about that in just a second. And you reduce the carrying cost of excess work in progress by reducing work in progress. Those are a few of the principles. One in particular, jidoka, I don't know if I pronounced that correctly, but workers promote the interest of their employer by actually initiating improvements instead of just fixing problems. Let me give you an example of what that may look like. This is a picture of a worker in an automotive assembly plant. This is a moving line. You'll see every chassis is on some yellow and white roller here, and it moves through the plant, and a worker has a few minutes of that car in their station that they can work on things. And I'm pretty sure I understand why they took this picture. So I'm almost sure his eyes are fixed on a defect. He's found something in the production of that vehicle that's not right. In mass production, you have a couple of options at this point. He can try to fix it really fast, or he can probably just put a cone on the top of the car, and when it gets to the end of the factory line, a master craftsman would take that off the line and fix it. But this is not a mass production plant. This is a lean plant. The reason I know that is because he has his hand hanging on a yellow cord. That's the stop cord. This cord stops the entire factory. He's just pulled a cord and stopped everything, which is a big deal. Do you know who's going to walk down right now? Is probably the plant manager, probably his boss. Everyone is going to be on the floor to talk about what's going on, and he's going to explain, look, I think we got the left doorknob on the wrong side of the car. I don't know how we did that, but instead of me just fixing it, we need to fix the problem that caused that. This is a significant difference. So I imagine maybe they went back to the parts room that was three steps back and they fixed it, rather than just quickly changing the side of the car that those were on. And this is very, very significant. Here's another one, Kaizen. This is the idea of continuous incremental improvement. All parties involved in production participate in Kaizen. To be totally clear, I mean all parties. When they have a Kaizen at a factory, they would sit down with those working on the line and those that have the power and authority to make change, which is a significant difference, right? It's not enough for someone to just say, you know, I wish that they would put all the tools in one room so I could get them all at the same time. You need the manager there to say, well, hot Skippy, that's a great idea. Let's move all of those to one room so we can fix this. So that's a significant point. There's some other flavors of this that are in other industries. In software, we call this a retrospective. Project management, there's a lessons learned or something like that. Kaizen, great idea. So let's talk a little bit about waste, because I said this is the number one thing. And I just want to preface this. Waste that we're going to define in lean production is not necessarily wasteful, okay? So for instance, inventory. Suppose in our operation here, we're making these pictures. We need paper, right? That's something that's necessary. However, that's wasteful because that doesn't actually add value to the customer for us to hold on to reams and reams of paper. To buy a whole warehouse full does no good. Or suppose we got halfway through a particular task and then stacked up 400 of these these images, which we're almost done with, but we're going to store them somewhere. It's a tremendous amount of waste there. I'm not saying that that's wasteful, but in the term of lean manufacturing, that is the definition of waste. Rework. So I imagine in this picture, and I don't know what's going on in this, by the way, but I'm going to tell you a story like I do. I think that this is the end of the line. This master craftsman here has pulled off the cone from the top of the car and now has to disassemble it to find the problem that occurred 300 steps back. Which, is that wasteful? That's the definition of waste. However, that happens all the time. So I want to go back to our activity. Again, in the context of lean manufacturing, can we define these three words here? In our operation, what was the goal? What were we trying to get done? And I want you to think for just a second, because the answer might not be intuitive. Make money. The goal was to make money, yes. The goal was to, at the end of the day, have more money coming in than we spent to make that. And that's why I made the point of talking about what those papers cost and all of that. Value. Can you tell me what was an activity that was going on that added value to the customer? I'll give you, excuse me, what's that? Drawing added value to the, yes, absolutely. How about carrying those papers around? Did that add value to the customer? No, not at all. And in fact, we can look at this for just a second. What was our waste? Did we have waste in that situation? It's pretty easy in the situation to look at those people that weren't doing things and say that was wasteful. And I want to point out that it's very tempting to try to make something more efficient, and making something more efficient doesn't necessarily add value, because if we had those 3 workers continue to pump out what they were pumping out, what would happen? We'd lose more money. We would meet our goal less. And so it's tempting to start to talk about efficiencies. In reality, that may get us in a bad spot. Some of the waste was probably the result. The inventory, the manager was having to walk around quite a bit. If you guys have anything you want to throw in there.
How about the stopwatch?
The stopwatch, the accountants.
Is that value or waste?
Absolutely, I appreciate you. Yes. So we had to collect the metrics, right? Metrics are great. We want to know what's happening, but we had 2 people working on that. Probably something we should automate or fix so it's not so expensive. Thank you. That's perfect. So let's keep on thinking in this mindset. Stay away from cases and Caseflow for just a second. Imagine I'm a tree planting business person. What is my goal? And I give you 3 options here. Do I want to keep my equipment clean and in good repair? Or is my goal to make a profit, or is my goal to buy trees for less than I sell them? Make profit, absolutely, yep. And I just want to point that out because it's important. Let's see, I work in a restaurant. Which activity adds value? Cooking or preparing food, ordering menus, or counting inventory? Cooking and preparing food, yes. I actually have a friend who worked in restaurants for quite a while, and I remember how much time he would spend counting inventory. And a lean producer person would look at that and just say, what are you doing? Rearrange the stock room or the fridge or something so you can do that quicker, because that inventory counting is not adding value to the customer. You're creating waste. Let's say, identify the goal. I teach 2nd grade at a local school. What is my goal? Make more money for the school, educate children, or grade papers? Educate, yep, absolutely. You can see from this perspective, when you hear about certain policies or procedures that are going on, it kind of makes you go nuts. When you think of a teacher with a classroom full of students having to go through policies of grading papers or doing these things or doing that thing when they could be adding value to their particular operation. One more here, identify the waste. I am a hospital nurse. What is waste? Administering drugs, attending mandatory HR training, or dressing a wound? HR. Sorry. Okay, I work for a city prosecutor. What is the goal? And I want you to think about this for just a second, and I bet you can answer this so much better than I could, and I'm not even going to pretend to go there. What I want you to do, I want you to break into a group of 4, hopefully with someone that you don't work with. Pick one of the agencies that are in your group of 4 and talk about that. What is your goal? What do you do to add value, and what do you do that adds waste? All right. So like I started off with, I hope this is the start of a conversation. And so there is no way that I'm going to be able to stand up here and tell you about your agency and what the waste and value are. I'm hoping that right now you're willing to do that. So if we could just, whoever is willing to share, please raise your hand, and if you could talk loud, share where you're from and a few of the things that your group discussed. Go ahead, Brian.
So we actually have a mix. We had a state level agency that does all the representation of the state, including prosecutors and actually representing the state, and then a public defender's office from Arizona. And our goal basically for both sides was effective representation of the client in court. An example of value was the actual court appearance, basically, and then our waste was missed client fees. We wasted the lawyer's time to try to get together to deliver the value that they needed to be in court.
Absolutely. I heard another story last week I've got to share really quickly. Some agency, they would get a particular incident from law enforcement, and they would take every charge and create a new case with each charge. The reason they would do that is because the AOC in their state would compensate them for every case, not for every charge, right? So that's a situation where politics or procedures was totally missing the goal of the organization, which was to improve community justice, or whatever that is. And it's just, someone had just baked in a really interesting situation. So let's see. Have that. So here are a few more stats, and I've got pages of these notes. Here are a few stories really quickly. Alameda, and if any of you are mentioned in here, I apologize. This is just out of the news. Alameda County DA recently announced they had 2,000 untested rape kits. This is a problem around the country, and there are actually organizations that are springing up to try to help get these through with their lab work. In 2011, the average time from arrest to conviction in a homicide was 30 months in Philadelphia. Wow. They brought in some process changes there, and they were able to cut that time down considerably. But imagine being involved in a homicide case and spending 30 months to find out. I mean, that's a long time. Donna Ana County DA in New Mexico announced this year they had 2,000 untried cases for which they weren't sure if the defendant was in jail or not. And I'm not sure that's necessarily bad, but the reason why that's significant is because they had inherited a big stack of cases from the previous administration, and then we're having to go through and figure out the status that they were all in. But that little line was in a news story, and I thought that was pretty neat. So I want to go back to our draw house team. If you could all step up here quickly. We're going to go back and produce some more houses here. Have you guys resolved your differences with the manager, or we need to bring in HR and enact some new policies? Okay. So they're union, yeah. So we're going to do the same thing, but before we start, I want the team to decide what's our batch size. Last time our batch size was 5. Let's.
One.
You're going to agree with the manager or disagree with the manager? I'm just joking.
I agree, but this time for the first one going through,
Yeah.
you make sure that it's exactly what you want before you pass it through.
You know what? That's a good idea. What if the customer works right with the team?
Yeah.
Would
That's
that
wonderful.
be all right? Okay. Accountants, it's going to move a little bit quicker. So you may want to just track total time from beginning to end. So, are you ready to start?
There's a stack of papers, and just one at a time.
Yeah, you can take the paper clips off. All right, and we want to get 5 finished copies.
They just want to remember to keep going through.
Oh, they're going to need that.
Just exactly, nothing fancy.
Here. All right. Ready, set, go. So I just want to point out as they're working on this that before we started, we had a discussion with the customer, with the manager, and with the team to talk about how we were going to do this. I don't think that ever happens. I mean, that's very difficult. And we do things like that at New Dawn, but it's deliberate and it's taken a long time to get to where we can have those types of conversations. Is that an old one?
Are those bad ones?
Yeah, I need a good one.
I think she has is she tracing off hold on, you're tracing off an old one.
My manager gave it to me.
Uh-oh. Do you know how long we're taking to get from beginning to end on one of them?
That one was like a minute.
We're just going to track how it takes to get all 5 of them done. I'm going to walk over and speak with our customer. How's it going? It looks like a Dr. Seuss picture, doesn't it? That tree looks like what's the tree called in those books? A truffula?
It looks good. It looks very good.
She's trying to convince the customer. I love this. You like this. You really like this. This is a good picture. Okay, let's stop here. Let's stop here.
Tired, my people are tired.
The people are tired. They need a smoke break. Okay, how have we done? Let's go to the customer here.
Only except one.
So she accepted one.
How many did she?
And how many did we burn through there?
Look at this. Smiley.
There's a smiley face on the sun. Where? So it's like, oh yeah, there is.
These are not what I wanted.
So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 12. We delivered 12. You accepted one.
Accepted one.
So 12 times 1, we spent $12 plus the $4 for the template. We spent $16, and we made a grand total of $2. All right, thanks, guys. Thank you very much. Go to and take a seat. Appreciate it. What I was going to do next, and I'm just going to have you imagine this, is that the entire team draws with their non-dominant hand. And the reason I wanted to throw that out there is because someone just described a few policies that are counter to meeting your team's goal. They exist, and they exist because of politics or regulation or whatever. And from this perspective where you're drawing a paper, it's so obvious. And you look at it and you think, why are you making us go through this exercise where you're drawing everything with the left hand? But then you're going to go back to your office and you're going to fill out an expense report that takes all day long and not actually serve the purpose of what you're working on, right? And you're not going to think that's the obvious item. Another term that I would like you to think about, so we've talked about value, what the goal is, what waste is. Another one is bottleneck or a constraint. And these are all terms that you can Google. They probably have a Wikipedia page for and learn quite a bit more about those. Your office workflow is a system. Any activity that limits or constrains the overall throughput of the system is a bottleneck. And that's it's difficult to find those, and the only way you can find them is through our accounting, through our statistics, right? In fact, I did this exercise with a group this week, and we were talking afterward how things went, and they all said, it took a long time to draw the house. We should, if we were really trying to do this, we would find a way to rework it so that the house could get drawn quicker. The accountant spoke up and said, no, it took the longest time to draw the sun. And we just didn't know. We intuitively thought that it was one thing, but if you actually have metrics, that allows you to figure that out. So I'd like you to spend the next 5 minutes with another part, with a partner. Just pick one. If you have a pen and paper, I want you to draw out real quickly what your workflow is. How does work come into your office? You all laughed. I know it's going to be complicated. You probably have charts on your wall that explain this. But don't be precise. Just throw it out there. Just say, this is where the work comes in. This is where it goes out. Identify a few of those things that we've been talking about. I hope you all have a pen and paper. I've seen a lot of you writing. If you don't, let me know. I have papers here. So going ahead, I'll give you 5 minutes, and I'll stop you when we're ready. All right, so I put a few questions on the board here. As you take this topic back and think about it, these are some great questions that you can ask while you're looking at that value map. As you map out the things that you do to meet your goal, ask these questions about every step. And then I would encourage you all to implement or to try this idea of having a retrospective, but make sure that you have the appropriate managers and people there that can make the changes happen. I also want to put a plug in here to ask about our reports. A lot of the data that you might need to evaluate is baked into Justware. And I would encourage you to, call in, look at what we have there. You don't have to have an accountant there with the stopwatch because we already do that stuff. In summary, many agencies are struggling with massive backlogs. We can look to manufacturing for direction and ideas, and this is not a new strategy. A lot of industries have adopted lean. Healthcare, retail, banking, a lot of stuff follow these practices. And there's probably pockets in the justice community that do this also. I would love if we could just start this conversation. lean manufacturing is full of great lessons, and empower the people that you work with to continuously improve. I have a list of books that I would recommend. I don't have them on a slide, but I will when we publish this. I think we're going to publish these or something like that. But mostly, I would like to hear from you. We have a whole day left. If you see me walking through the hall, stop me. I could talk about this all day long. So thank you very much, and good luck.